For the last 48 hours, I've been investigating the Argentinian meme coin disaster known as Libra. If you don't know, the president of Argentina posted publicly supporting this meme coin, and subsequently it has all crashed and people have wondered where the money is, with $100 million seeming to go missing. Now, I've been in touch with the key players in this, trying to get answers, and what you're about to hear is an hour-long interview with Hayden Davis, who is the main guy behind the launch and a lot of the token decisions. He currently sits with $100 million in his possession that he's trying to find out what to do with. You will discover through the course of this call that it is not the first time we have been talking. I have been trying to communicate with him for, as I said, the last 24 to 48 hours. And this is not the interview for like pushing from my view, because I wanted to get information. I feel like the biggest thing we're missing is answers. And so I was just listening a lot of this call. I do think we got some incredible admissions, but I wanted to say it's not my characteristic like, scammer. And that was by design. The guy was very skittish from the beginning. And so I didn't feel like that was an appropriate kind of reaction. Everyone's going to have their opinion on this guy either way based on what you hear. But I thought a more like neutral approach, just letting this guy talk. It is the first time he's talked since he issued like a statement on Twitter. It was like a minute long and it wasn't received very well. So I wanted to give him the chance to kind of dump all the information out at once. The interview starts abruptly because he starts with some off-the-record stuff that I had to cut out. But yeah, hopefully this sheds some light on what's going on.
I'll just start. I can just start talking about certain things. One of the issues with Libra, and what we try
hold
and
on.
avoid.
I just want to know: can we consider this part on the record? Because I don't want to include the stuff about all that kind of stuff. That's not like anyone's business. I appreciate you sharing that context. The Libra stuff is sort of the meat and potatoes of what I wanted to talk about.
The Libra stuff is fine. Like the Libra stuff is fine.
Okay, go ahead.
So like one of the issues with Libra, right? I mean, there's so many details in this story, but one of the issues with Libra is when you launch on Meteora, right, and you're trying to avoid all these snipers. There's this whole context around like shitloads of insiders. That's not what's going on. What's going on is you have these, I don't know how they're doing it, but these expert snipers, like guys that are clipping 1.7, 2 million, 800,000, 1.2 million into the charts. And then what you have is, because on big launches, all this volume is going to come in. And then you're like, fuck, this guy, like at one point, one of the top wallets, which for some reason still hasn't sold a bunch, I don't understand why, but had $57 million, right? And had a 5 billion market cap, or 4.5, which is what Libra was at. That's still going to crush the chart. It's not like that's 5 billion. It's not like that's $4.5 billion. So then you have to make a real-time decision where you're like, okay, do I pull do I swap some of the liquidity out to protect the floor, knowing that I know that there's more marketing plans coming? Or do I just let the chart get crushed, right? And that's what every single one of these launches, that's what happens. Where it's like 3 to 10 guys get these massive chunk. They're not good snipers, right? They're all bad snipers. They're just looking to unload their whole position. You can't track it. You can't find it. It doesn't matter if you subpoena it. It doesn't, like, it takes forever. It doesn't work. And so every launch, right, this happens. Now, what happened with Libra specifically, which I'm happy to share, even though Javier and his team have told me that there's a pretty substantial interview coming tomorrow that'll be live on TV. I don't think that's like super publicly known, but like he's going to basically clear up A, me, and then B, Libra as the project, because he's obviously under scrutiny. But basically what happened was when it launched, our goal was, okay, can we collect enough liquidity, which again, people can say we're pieces of shit or not, but the goal was to connect enough liquidity because Milei was going to do another video, and then there were some other, I won't name them, but there were some other high-level people that were going to interact, post, etc., market the video, right? So our goal was, can we take enough liquidity off to get all the snipers out, or at least control them so that when the chart dips down, it's not going to crush the whole project. Have Milei do the second round of videos, and then inject all the capital back in, or at least the vast majority, and create like a mega Trump launch, basically. And I don't know. I still don't have answers on exactly what happened with why he took the post down. I'm assuming there's some extreme political pressure that he got, and he panicked. As somebody in his position, I would feel rightly so. I mean, he's not like a crypto native person. And then we've been working through like, okay, what can we do from here? But like, people are saying this is a rug pull. Like, that's not objectively true. There's still like, there's what, 60 million on the bonding curve of liquidity that's locked, right? It's at 300 million market cap. Like, it's not a rug. It's a plan gone miserably wrong with $100 million sitting in an account that I'm the custodian of, but I'm not. I don't. I would love instruction on what to do with it. I don't have no desire to be public enemy number one of how to make this happen. I'm not benefiting from this. My life is just in danger.
Yeah, so there's a few things I want to touch on there.
Yeah.
Thanks for that explanation. The 100 million. I think the view from the public is that, like, rug is a word at this point which is so widely used that it has like a colloquial meaning too, and it just means sort of like unfair value extraction. I think that's like kind of the colloquial meaning. And in this case, the unfair value extraction would be like taking money out. And the view was that there was no clarity on like what that was going to be used for. So people just thought like, oh, they're just taking profits, right? Like, this is $100 million of profits in such and such a time. So that was the view. But yeah, obviously something needs to be done with this $100 million to try to put it back in the people's hands. I think that's going to be a very complicated, tough process, because it's very difficult to do that with people not further taking advantage of the situation, right?
Well, if I could just comment, like, it's also multi-sided, right? Because like, it's a meme coin. Like, if you're turbo nuking your whole portfolio into a meme coin, right? Like that, I mean, not financial advice, but like, it's foolish. So I understand that, but at the same time, it's like, what, like, I was even talking about this today with a number of different people. It's like, how do you assess a value when the token's not dead? The president's most likely going to support it, so it's going to have some element of probably going back up. And you have to both control the narrative of like, okay, people have lost money because they've chosen to sell, but the token's not dead yet. Like, where are those lines? And the answer is nobody can give me an answer.
Sure. Yeah, I'd be surprised if Milei backtracked, and I think Milei's gonna wash his hands of this. But I could definitely be wrong. I don't know the whole situation. I do have a question, like just like a yes or no. Like, is Milei gonna make money on this?
No, 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 no.
Right. My second question: are the two people who are involved in this launch Manuel and Mauricio?
Yes.
From Forum Argentina, yes?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Kip Protocol was going to run the nonprofit, or whatever it was going to be, like a foundation, right?
Yeah. Honestly, like, yeah.
They didn't have much. They didn't have much to do with it, and then
Yeah.
you were going to launch the coin, but you weren't going to do the like distribution of the money.
So yeah, I can talk a little more about that. So like, the plan, like, this was supposed to be an experiment, right? Like, Malay has a deep desire to put everything on chain, like to make everything public, to make like every like all the financial transactions of the country, like, he wants to tokenize, right? So I've been in talks with tons of different people and tons of different foundations about structuring what that would look like over the next couple years. And so like, the idea was like, okay, well, let's experiment with this and see how it goes. Because again, it's not like he has supported it, but it wasn't like it was his official meme coin. Let's also like make that crystal clear. And yeah. So, anyways, that's a side note. But
Right. So, look, a big part of this is like, people are trying to figure out what's going on. This money gets taken out of the account. And then there's this accusation that insiders had knowledge of the contract before it was out. All these, KOLs, basically people in the know in the industry knew about the coin prior to launch and therefore could have either one, just shared that fact with other people, which is bad because it gives people unfair advantages, but two, benefited from the knowledge themselves. I think a very easy example is Dave Portnoy, who knew about the launch, I think he said 2 weeks before you even before it ever came out, right? So he knew about it. Just as a quick amendment, although Dave claimed that he knew that it was probably coming out, he said he did not buy early or as an insider. I bought 10 minutes or so after Milei tweeted. I would have bought 10 milli if I could have. That's how I was sold on this. So just to be clear, although he knew of its existence, his statement is that he did not trade early. I just wanted to make sure we had that in the story. He had time to put $5 million together, which he traded on, this coin. Then he loses the money, ironically, and you refund him. And so that is the kind of insider benefits and unfairness that I think a lot of people are going to look at and go this is so rigged. He traded $5 million worth of it. And then even when he lost, you refund him.
Right. So a couple things. One, that was probably a mistake, to be honest with you. At the moment,
I agree.
Whatever that was, I don't know when that was, whatever it was, middle of the night, whatever. I'm going back and forth with him. I'm thinking, well, Milei is going to publicly support this. This is no big deal. I don't want Dave to lose money. I'm not thinking from the perspective of holy shit, everybody's going to get fucked on this. That's not the perspective. So I probably need to have a conversation with him, and I'm sure there'll be different terms that we talk about. As far as people knowing about the token, look, I can't say that I or anybody that knew about that, or Manu or Mauricio, haven't told a singular soul. I can tell you very few people knew. The idea of insiders to me is always bullshit, because every meme coin I've ever known or invested in or been a part of, the people that benefit are the people that know, the people that benefit the most are the people that structure the deal, similar to any other business in the world. People that are closest normally make the most money or lose the most money, one of the two. So I think that's a bit of bullshit, and that's just crypto people that are angry that there's always an unfair advantage if you're a genius on chain and you know how to game the system on Meteora, and there's 30 guys in the world that know how to do that better than anybody. So it's
yeah, but there's wait. There's unfair games, right? There's people who know everything about stocks. You can be Warren Buffett, but there's a difference between being Warren Buffett and being a guy with insider knowledge on Pfizer Pharmaceutical and trading on your insider knowledge. So I think the frustration is people are frustrated that not that you're good at trading, but that you knew something the public didn't know, and you traded on that information, which in the public markets it would be illegal. It would be insider trading.
Right. But on meme coins, A, it's not. And B, that's what happens on every single deal. I mean, every KOL, every single one globally, that's how their main money gets made. They know about a deal, they agree to a deal, and then they make money on the deal. If you're calling out that, you have to call out everything else.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be my point.
I think that is
literally.
I do think that's unbelievably shitty. I do think that's unbelievably bad, and for everyone, except for the insiders, which is what I always say about meme coins, is it disproportionately benefits insiders.
So I think too, my honest opinion is I don't actually disagree, but I think the vast majority of people betting on meme coins, right? Especially at the beginning, and I think there's a separate conversation. Retail traders, that is the game for everyone, and people that get mad are the people that aren't insiders. That is what happens. That's all the bitching on socials is all the people that don't get into the deals. You'll never hear them bitch if they're in the deal. So it's what do you do then? You don't do anything. You don't launch the project. You're how do you make money then? If Sniper what do you do? That's always the question. That's the
Just to be
question.
clear, there's a difference between doing a deal, like, and using the information you have from inside the project to make trading decisions based on that. Those are different things. I can get paid for a tweet, let's say, and as long as I disclose that, I don't think that's necessarily a problem. But if I'm on the side buying up $1 million worth of this coin because I have insider information from my position in the deal, I think that's wrong and should be rooted out. If people think these markets should be treated like capital markets, I mean, that's
Right.
what
And
all the
I
crypto
don't, and
people
I, and I
say.
don't. I don't think people should treat them as capital markets because they're not. That's not what they
Well,
are.
you're the guy in the deals, though. Of course you know these, right?
But
But that's your
like
point.
even the deals which I just like bet on, whether it's like, fucking jail stool or whatever. If I throw money into it, I have they're like I don't treat it as a regular stock. I'm like, dude, this could go to zero tomorrow. I have no idea. Right? So it's like I don't I treat it like a casino because that's what it is.
Yeah, but the weird thing is that the people who always say like, oh, there shouldn't be like this regulation or that regulation are always the people who are tilting the table at the casino. Like I
But
hear
I think
Dave
there should
Portnoy
be.
talk about like, oh, you babies in the trenches, where.
Cried, oh, Dave dumped it, Dave sold his coin.
Okay, first of all, most babies in the trenches aren't getting refunded $5 million. Secondly, Dave's like, oh, you're mad at me because I dumped on you before you dumped on me, stuff like that.
You're just mad you didn't dump him on fucking me.
It's like, well, Dave, you're part of what controls what people do because people are trading based on you. So it's like,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
people inside the casino who control the most levers are like, yeah, we don't think there should be any rules as to like what we say or what we do as long as we just disclose like, hey, I'm going to do this to you, not
Yeah,
financial
but don't
advice, whatever.
let me just say, like, don't like people like Dave, for example. Like Dave A is a good guy. Number one. Number two, Dave doesn't know that much about what's going on with meme coins yet. Like he doesn't. He has no idea. Like he's just kind of like figuring it out. He just figured out a couple weeks ago. Like shit, if I so if I bet on this and I talk about it, oh, the price goes up. This is so crazy and weird. How do I do? Like, what do I do with
So
this?
crazy and weird. Look, hold on. I don't want to focus on him because in some ways I appreciate his transparency and it shows a lot of the things that are going on behind the scenes that we don't see. But what I'm just making the larger point, which is that everybody who's like, yeah, we should deregulate this, whatever. It's like, and this shouldn't be treated like everything else. They are also a lot of the times you'll find the same people who are rigging the game or have some hand in the game that is an unfair advantage. It's just like what you said. The people who complain are the people without the unfair advantage. The people who don't complain are the people with the unfair advantage. Like I think that is a true statement. I want to move on though from that because look, like a lot of this has turned into some of the wallets which are being linked back to you are like linked to wallets which sniped the coins that you launched, right? So in the
Correct.
case of Libra, there's the wallet which Dave got refunded by, which is, according to him, your personal funds, was linked to an Avalanche wallet which was funded like a sniper of Libra. So, but if you launch the coin, isn't it unfair for you to snipe the coin?
So I would say no, and I would say that for a couple different reasons. Number one, a lot of the times when, and again, this is like, I mean, again, it's a much larger conversation, which is what I told you in text. But most of the time when I have I have different money in different places, obviously. But from the standpoint of sniping, most of the time when we're sniping, we're attempting to avoid other snipers getting in, right? So whether that's, and by the way, I don't conduct snipes. I'm not a dev. I just want to throw that out there for like, I don't even know how to. I like if you put me in front of a computer and had me try and figure out how to snipe, I don't even know I've never done a bot. I don't know any of that shit.
But you're not denying that wallets linked to you sniped Libra,
Not,
but you're
not,
just
I
saying
would
you
say
didn't do it.
link to the project. I wouldn't say link to me. I would say link
No,
to the
link
project.
to the wallet which refunded Dave, which Dave said was your personal funds.
That just happened to be at the time of stress where we moved money from, but that was just a mistake. I mean, if anything, because like in that particular case, all I would do is like that money, when it went back into the chart, it would just flow through another wallet back into the chart. Like that money that we consider sniping, quote unquote, is the project's money, right? That's how we do it for, I mean, anytime we've done it, that's how we do it. And the most of the time the snipe is to deter, and if there's enough volume on the project, we use it so that it has the ability to continue on. And I think that's very hard for people to understand.
I will agree. I will agree with that. I think that is going to be hard to understand.
Because you have like look, right? You have, and I'll give you a great example. If you look at Trump and you look at the snipes, right? Trump had so much volume, the snipes didn't matter. They made zero difference.
No, wait, hang on. That's not true. There was a guy who sniped early for $1 million. The big crash in Melania that everyone attributes to Melania was actually that sniper selling like tens of millions of dollars of coins.
Like the one
that's
that did like 84 mil, right? That
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we could argue all day. My point is, sniping when you're the team, I'm not saying it always should happen, but I'm saying a lot of times it's to protect and if there's enough volume, take some off so that people can have a chance to pump the chart back up. Because with meme coins, they go up and down so fast, these projects can get killed in 2 days. And the only hope is that you have enough of a treasury to go and try and beat the snipers. This is a conversation that goes on with everybody in Solana. Everybody that knows how these launches work, that is the conversation.
Do you think the public knows that when a project launches, the project is going to snipe the project? Because being the most charitable, right, which I'm just going to really stretch my brain and be super charitable here and say all of this money is not being intended to be profit. It's all for the project, right? I think
Yes.
The public not knowing that like you have these, clandestine activities with these like side wallets going on is inherently like kind of messed up. And like the project is controlling the project's price. It is like a weird kind of price manipulation where you go like, oh, if it's too high, we'll clip some off the chart. And then also it kind of makes the whole idea of the team having a treasury wallet kind of pointless because it seems like you also have a sniping wallet treasury. And the public has like zero clarity into what's going on here. This, I mean, just to be clear, do you think this happens a lot?
I think that this is all that happens in all of meme coins ever, unless they completely die and then they get CTO'd and hopefully nobody fucks it up. But I think like this is just me being super transparent. Maybe it's oversharing. I don't really give a shit. Because everything is on the blockchain and because a certain amount of people have figured out how to game it, when you're the responsible party of trying to figure out how to make them last, because everybody, I will tell you, every single person that launches these, unless they're just a nefarious fuck, they're trying to figure out how to make these last. Like my whole goal of coming into this was like if you want the Dave story, just quick side note, there was a whole deal where the Milei team wanted Dave to be involved so that they could do some cross promotion and maybe even eventually do like an interview like he did with Trump and create like maybe if Dave had a project at one point that there'd be like some ability for their holders to benefit from their holders and like create another like social finance thing. Like we're always I'm trying to figure out how to do that. And what always fucks that up is just massive sniping. That's the main trigger point of what fucks it up. And there's no solution because those guys just walk off with 80, 100, 200 million and they're just scot free. And then everybody else gets fucked and the project gets blamed. And so do I think that sniping is the number one most ethical thing of all time? No. But do I think that anybody's figured out a better way to help deter, especially the beginning launch when only the snipers can see the launch? Only the snipers can see the CA. Only. And they've gamed it. And they've gamed it on Radium, and they've gamed it on Meteora, and they're pretty sure they've gamed it on Orca as well.
So let me say, so I think this whole thing of like you snipe your own projects is insane. But I will agree that sniping is a massive problem for all these meme coins. And I think insider knowledge is also a huge problem. I think both can be true at the same time. And part of the sniping happens from insider leaks. Like in the case of the...
I disagree.
Okay, well, no, you can disagree, but like there are alpha groups where one, they're looking on chain for stuff, but they're also looking for early contract leaks, and they will pay money to get those early contract addresses so they can snipe the coin.
Right, but then what's like, okay, sure. What's the solution? You don't launch the project, or do you try and protect it? Like, here's what I would ask you. What would you do?
Philosophically, I think meme coins are rent-seeking zero-sum games that extract value from the majority of people who engage in them and disproportionately benefit insiders by how it works, how the deals are structured, and by the fact that for someone to make $1, you have to lose $1, right? So I think the whole thing is misguided from the outset. But obviously, I focus my efforts on where there is an unfair element of either fraud or insider trading or something that colloquially people agree is wrong. Because if people want to engage in meme coins, that's fine. But if they're going to engage in meme coins, I think at least the market should be fair. Like, I think meme coins are stupid, but even if you want to engage in stupid things, it should be fair. This is what happened with casinos, right? Casinos, there's a bunch of fraud in addition to the unfair gambling element. And so then they got super regulated. There's a reason casinos are regulated. It's because people were getting screwed. And so I think the same thing can and should eventually happen with this stuff, although there's obviously a big push to deregulate everything on the other side. Look, I mean, obviously, I know this is a bit of a sensitive topic, but I have to ask because, this is part of what my story is about. A lot of people have linked you to the Melania launch, and that is a big question on everyone's mind, mine especially, which is, were you part of the Melania launch, and was that sniped as well?
I mean, look, I think that I told you like beforehand before this started. I mean, I'm happy to share the truth, but I mean, you're asking a question that's it's just, I mean, I'll answer, but it's just factually going to put me into a lot of danger, which is fine. I'll answer. I was part of it. I think the team did want to snipe it because of how big the snipe was on Trump's, and we weren't we definitely weren't the big sniper. We were not that was what we were trying to avoid. And we didn't make any. There was no money made from the Melania team on any. We didn't take any liquidity out. Zero.
Okay. Wow. That's like shocking news. But I want to zoom in on that point. You said like, well, we didn't take any liquidity out. One of the wallets we traced to the Portnoy thing, thing, your wallet, or not, I don't know if it's your wallet, whoever's wallet that was, sent money to a wallet which had got sent $1.5 million of Melania token from something called Melania-liquidity2.sol. And then that wallet seemed to sell Melania tokens that it received for free. So you said y'all didn't sell any liquidity, but
didn't swap liquidity. Didn't swap liquidity. Didn't swap into single-sided. I didn't say there was no money sold. There's a difference between swapping the liquidity and selling liquidations. Those are two different things.
Okay, so y'all swapped. You didn't sell, or the other way around?
No, other way around.
Sold, you didn't swap.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So are those the two main launches you were involved in? Have you? I've heard a few other launches like Hood. Was that also you?
No.
Okay. Okay. What? Look, dude. I mean, This is messed up. But look, let's try to get to this $100 million. Thank you for being kind of transparent about your feeling about these things. I do feel like you have, been honest about this.
I mean, look,
you're sitting on $100 million.
Here's the thing. Before I talk about 100 million, I'm just gonna say one thing. Like, with all of this stuff, right? Like all these things, like there's nothing particularly like people have tried to say like how is he involved with Dave and Milei, right? I am like not any person that's like special. I've hunted all this stuff down because I was trying to get to I wanted two things. One, I thought that like meme coins were a step in the point of social finance, and I think I'm turning out that that's wrong, and everybody wants to kill me instead for facilitating some of these. But I think I think you and everyone else should at least take a fucking second and look at what should people do and how should people make money from these. Because there's basically one way, right? There's fees, which are very nominal on big launches. And then there's also, of course, the platforms that make fuckloads of money. No matter if there's a rug pull or a project goes well or not, which I completely disagree with.
Yeah,
I
they
completely
sell shovels.
and I completely disagree with it. Like pump funds, fucking full of shit. Meteora, Jupiter, Bullex, Photon, all these guys. It doesn't matter. They're just making money on trading fees, and if people lose their shorts, they're still cooking, which I think is fucking bullshit. And I've told many of the owners of those of all those platforms that it's fucking bullshit. And there should be some element of like, if it's a true rug or people are screwing you, or screwing people, there should be some sort of like refund policy. Anyways, aside from that, what would people do? What do you do when there's a broken system and you're trying to fix it and you're trying to sort out different launches, different mechanisms, starting at higher market caps, figuring out who to involve versus not, how to keep the CA to yourself, how to market it without telling people? What the fuck should you do? I would love just at least, right, if this is going to be recorded and go live and whatever, that to be a thought. Because nobody, the best people in crypto, don't have an answer. They don't. Nobody has an answer for it. And I'm constantly trying to figure out, okay, what should we do? How should we make money cleanly? Is it even possible?
Fundamentally, hold on. Fundamentally, I think people in crypto don't have a good answer, because the real answer nobody wants to hear, which is that you're sort of like, what's the fair way to make a bunch of money selling like tulip bulbs or something like that? It's like, you can structure it a lot of different ways, but anything that is by definition value extracting from the world at large is probably not a great thing. So I think people in crypto don't want to hear that.
But then every crypto project, whether they're VC funded or it's a meme coin, is value extracted.
Okay, wait, hang on. I think there's a difference between something that has it's a word that gets overused, but utility, something that does something, a tool that purports to do something, and then things that literally have no intrinsic value at all, right?
But it's still value extraction. It doesn't matter if it has utility.
Not necessarily. I mean, not necessarily. Like take for example, the company Coca-Cola, right? Coca-Cola, you could say, well, they're making a lot of money for their shareholders, right? But they also, one, provide a good. I mean, you could quibble about that, but like, they provide a service people will pay money for, and they provide something. Then in addition, they provide dividends to shareholders. So their shareholders, regardless, shareholder could buy in for $1 and leave with $1, but they've made the dividends, right? So it's not a zero-sum game. Coca-Cola is not running a zero-sum game. Apple is not running a zero-sum game. These companies that are in the capital markets are not running zero-sum games. They're producing things. That is what the value is based on. Crypto, the idea was that yes, it's a little speculative at first, but the reason you should care about this is because there's something that is valuable behind it. There's some kind of financial technology behind it. I think that's the overall pitch. Now,
but
people will argue to...
There's
well,
not. There's not. Look at any crypto asset, right? Like even Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is literally valuable because a shitload of people said it's valuable, and because it quote unquote isn't controlled by anybody that we know of. Like, even at the top, all of it is extractive to some degree or a zero-sum game. None of it has value. So it's like whether it's a fucking meme coin or it's a giant utility project, it all is dog shit. The whole point of being here is the attempt for it not to be one day, which is going to require huge amounts of progress for it to get there. My bet.
Yeah, but the progress is not going to come in
just
the meme coins. Yeah, go ahead.
Just to finish, right? I'm not saying I'm right, by the way. I'm just saying this is my thought. I'm not at all saying I'm right. But my thought was, if some of these meme coins, because that's what all anybody gives a shit about right now, at least for the past 3-4 months or 2-3 months, whatever, maybe since Trump launched, is that some of these could at least maybe, again, eventually create utility, or the Daves, or the, Kanye is a horrible example, but some of these big guys, and they start collaborating, cross-promoting, burning tokens, adding utility, and maybe there's actually potential of like social finance for those type of things. But in order to get there, there's going to be a fuckload of dumb shit that happens, which is the situation that I'm in right now, which is an absolute colossal, giant, huge fuck off problem, which is the $100 million thing, which we can go back to.
Yeah, I'm happy to get back there. You've got $100 million kind of sitting there, and you're trying to find what to do. Now, you and I spoke in text, and my advice, I don't know if it's perfect, but my advice is like, look, you need to take a snapshot, calculate P&Ls, calculate who lost money, and assign pro rata shares of the losses. So if, and maybe with an emphasis on lower amounts. So like, let me just like give you a for instance. You could cap the amount of losses somebody could reasonably claim to like $50,000, with the assumption being if you have more than that, you are much more likely to be a more sophisticated trader, and the emphasis with recovery would be on people who are not sophisticated, who are just maybe somebody from Argentina who just saw the Milei tweet and was like, I'll throw money at that, right? Or somebody from America who has like no idea, they have $1,000 and they dump money into that. So you could make a lot of people whole using that. The downside is that it would take a lot of time and an analytics firm, frankly. As I told you, I think it would take a lot of effort. But I think that's the most reasonable approach given how screwed up it's all become.
Yeah, so I would, I've been told basically 4 things. I'm happy if somebody, the whole point of me texting you was not some fucking sob story. It was like, look, I need somebody trustworthy to come help me, because I don't know what the fuck to do. And I don't want to be blamed for something that I had no intention of creating, to be just quite honest. And remember, this is the government of Argentina, Milei, Kip. I am not the team. I am not the team. I will say that 100 more times. I have no desire to be in the position. The video I posted was simply to try and get people to help, and no one, besides Yatsu, no one has come to help. That's like a crypto leader. It's insane to me. All these people are bitches. Anyways, there's 4 options, right? There's no refund, and just, and give all the money to an Argentinian nonprofit and tell everybody to fuck off. That's a horrible idea, in my opinion. Second option is a refund. But a refund is going to be based on, again, a bunch of different metrics, and people are still going to be pissed, and people are still going to come for me. So I've been advised that that's a terrible idea by a bunch of people. Although I do think people should get, even though meme coins are completely speculative, and it's horseshit that people would throw all their life savings into these. I still think it's still based on what I think and what an analytics firm thinks based on a certain price. It's still fucked. The third option is inject all the money back into the chart. I did a calculation of how much money we have, and even with tons of sell pressure.
How much is it?
How much we could get it to?
No. How much money do y'all have sitting on the sidelines?
No. It's like it's like more or less 100 mil. I like right around there. And I guess there's fees too. So there's probably I don't know the number, but it's probably like 11 million or so in tokens and like 13 in fees. So let's say like 110-ish million, right, of cash, because tokens you can't inject back into a chart. If we injected all that back into a chart, it would get up to about 2.5-3 billion, right, which is about where the all-time high was, and at least gives it a chance. And I'm completely clean of that, right? Then there's like, you guys can say whatever you want. The money's back in the chart. And then people can say like, well, he bought the token before, blah, blah, blah. There's no world in which I'm buying this token. I want to get the fuck away from it. This has been a colossal nightmare for me.
Let me just pitch you, because I feel very strongly that this would be a mistake. And let me just give you the quick pitch on why that's like a colossal, that will get more problems. Okay. Starting with just the fact that it's an inequitable solution. Like the other way of a pro rata share at least tries to be equitable. But you're talking about a launch which already was plagued by people basically the fastest fingers taking advantage, really snipers, bots, taking advantage of, a launch, right? And then the solution is, well, let's do something which also allows snipers and bots to take advantage of us re-injecting capital. That, even when you announced that, hey, we're thinking about doing this, if you're a savvy speculator and hey, this guy's about to run this up to $2 billion, you buy a bunch of Libra coins on the cheap. Now, I don't advise that anyone do that. But, even when you floated this idea to me, it's like that already created an insider trading opportunity, which I could have run to the side, got, however many thousands of dollars together, dump money into Libra, and then wait for you to re-inject money. I could go, hey, Hayden, go inject money into the chart. Go do it. You inject $2 billion, and I get like an 100x. This is a disaster. So it's like because there's an insider trading problem. There's as soon as you do buy.
Why is it a disaster? Why is it a disaster? Because if I announce that that's the intention, it gives everybody the chance to buy in. Then it's not insider. Then it's completely free market, and everybody knows that there's money coming back into something. Then it's completely free.
But even then, as you buy, when you decide to buy, the more sophisticated you are, the more you take advantage of this, right?
But that's the same thing. It doesn't, whether it's a launch or an injection, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter. Like that ends up being that's the same point you're making. Like, whether I refund people, they're still going to be fucking pissed, right? Refund people on a meme coin, which sounds insane. Or I inject back. People are going to be mad either way.
Why would people be mad if you just say, hey, I mean, of course they might not get all their money back, but people generally like getting something back.
Because I have people who are like, hey, send me $1.5 million, I go kill your family. So I still have those people to deal with.
Well,
regardless if I refund
you're not going to send
the
them
50.
money, are you?
Of course not.
Okay,
but now I have to protect my whole fucking family.
No, well, the first thing you should do is get the money out of your hands. You need to go to a reputable firm. You need to set up a legal structure to get this money out of your hands, so you, Hayden, do not have access. Like, part of the reason you're scared is because you do have access to $100 million.
Sure, but that's also, correct. But if I'm being extremely transparent, honest, that's also my leverage with certain groups and parties, right? The fact that I have control is also what's making me a target and also protecting me, because this is an international incident. This isn't like some random fucking scam. This isn't a scam. This is a plan gone very wrong at a presidential level.
Actually, I agree with you. It is a plan.
So if I custody it with somebody else,
true,
even if it's a trusted third party, I lose my leverage. So until, and I told you off the record what I think is going to happen, or maybe it was on, I don't even remember at this point, until I have answers from Javier Milei, until I have answers from his group, until I get an actual real game plan. This is why I gave it a 48-hour window. It was like, until somebody presents a great plan besides some bullshit thing where it's going to take 6 months. If that's the right plan, I'll do it. No problem. Don't care. 100%. We'll give custody over. I don't give a fuck. I don't want anything to do with this at all. Zero. But right now, where I'm sitting is my reputation is crushed, which is fine. I'm a target of one government, potentially more. And my only leverage point is that I have all this money. And so it's a much bigger decision than just let's get into somebody else's hands. It's not that type of thing. And it's not that type of story.
No, I'm actually, so I understand what you're saying. It's not, I agree it's not a simple story. And when we talked about, like, you know, my suggestion, my first thing I said is, like, this is going to be a slow fix. And whatever you do, you should do it very slowly. You should not rush in. And that's why I another reason I said, like, hey, just dumping money into a chart is not going to solve all your problems. That is the equivalent of just handing the money away as well. Like, I do think you should be methodical about this. But when you were talking about, like, you know, if we do refunds, people are going to be coming at me. I was just saying, if you eventually find a trusted third party, then this would alleviate the concerns that, like, somebody's going to kidnap your family and extort you for money, because you literally won't have that money to give them. So that's a separate point. But I understand. I take your point, which is that, look, at this moment, in a weird way, the $100 million you have from the project is your way of sort of trying to get answers for yourself, because there's Javier Milei, who's basically tried to distance himself from you guys. First said he was part of you guys, and he tried to distance himself when clearly he was part of the project.
And remember, like, there's evidence of me being with him multiple times.
Right. Nobody disputes. And I certainly would never, like, Javier Milei knew about the project. He endorsed the project. I think he regrets endorsing the project, but it doesn't change the fact that he definitely endorsed it. And it was really endorsed by him. But there's a separate question of, like, okay, what do you do with the money? And all I'm saying is that I think you should really think about the inequity side of, like, already what has happened is inequitable. No one disputes that. So when going forward, when you're trying to clean up this mess, it is tempting to look for the easy answer. And the easy answer is you dump the money back in the chart and you say, it's not my problem anymore. Go gamble, you degenerates. But that, like, I think the fairer way, and the way that is much harder to criticize and much, like, you know, more responsible, is that you find some way to, you know, find losses, find a way to get a claim into people's hands, you know, and just do it slowly, because I think that's the way it has to be done, given the scale of dollars sort of at play here. But look, I recognize that I'm not in your shoes, and I don't want to be in your shoes. And when you talked about, like, me, like, really helping out, I was like, this sounds like a nightmare. I don't want to inherit your $100 million problem. But I do want to see people get money back, right? So I can only give thoughts onto what I think is the most fair way to do this. You have to make the decisions and live with that. That's sort of, like, your burden to bear.
Yeah, but also to be clear, like it's my burden to bear because nobody has said shit to me, right? Like, I'm in this extreme, like, this is the thing that I think people, it's just insane. But I'm making decisions on behalf of the government of Argentina, who's distanced themselves from this. I have nothing to, like, if they want to refund it, that's what I would do. If, like, you understand what I'm saying? It's an impossible scenario.
Have they not given you guidance on this? Have you asked?
Zero. Nobody said shit to me. Zero. Like, zero.
Well, I think Malay's freaking out for his.
Yeah, because, I mean, obviously, because he's
going to get impeached. I mean, well, they're going to have proceedings. I don't know if he's going to get impeached.
He's probably not going to get impeached, but it's definitely going to get close.
It hurts him. It hurts him.
For sure. It hurts him a lot. Which is, I mean, I'm a massive Milei supporter, and I think he's, like, absolutely clean and not corrupt at all. And I think tons of people in Argentina want to take him down to be more corrupt again, because they game that whole system. Anyways, my point is, it's an impossible scenario to be in. I'm sitting here as, like, a sitting duck. It's not like I'm going to benefit from this at all. It's crushed any reputation I've had. I'm all over the internet, and I don't know what the fuck to do. And I was a facilitator. That's the craziest shit. I wasn't even the deployer, and I'm not the team.
Wait, when you say the team, who is the team?
Kip is the team. I mean, that's the team that's supposed to manage this project.
Oh, right. But you're deploying, like the token stuff is you, but the guy who's supposed to manage the funds after the money is like found out is Kip,
Yeah,
right?
where I sit, right, is I'm like the launch strategist where I'm making decisions on behalf of what the team wants.
Right.
Right? So I'm just making decisions on what they want to do. I'm not like this. I'm not like a mastermind trying to fucking figure out how much money I can make from shit. That's not where I sit. I sit in like I'm trying to put these projects together so they cross promote each other and get bigger and bigger and become utility. That's the only reason I actually started doing this. Like I sit between there. I don't have a say in a lot of things. I'm just in most cases an executor.
But
Like
we should admit you stand to make millions of dollars in most of these cases, right? Like we're not
100%.
calling
Yeah,
you
yeah. I'm not doing this
right.
for free. Of course not. I'm not going to say that.
Okay.
Absolutely
I'm
not.
just making sure we're not playing you as
No,
the
no, no.
victim here. I think you're in a bad
No, no, no.
situation, but
Oh,
financially,
I'm absolutely the victim of this situation. I'm not going to financially make shit on this situation. But like I'm not. Of course not.
how
Any
do we
idiot that puts
know?
them.
You know, this is a question that always returns to me. This is sort of my problem with like project sniping and stuff like that. Is, you know, it's as I can trace the blockchain, and I would say I'm probably in the top 1% of humans at it, because most humans don't know how to do it, right?
Right.
Even I, when you ask me, like, find all the snipers who did something, it would, first of all, take me forever. I don't have time. It's never going to happen, right? It's just too much going on. And there's too many transactions to analyze. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, when you say, oh, I'm not going to benefit, how do we know you're not just going to peel off a few million for yourself? It'd be very easy to do. And I don't mean it as like an accusation. I'm not saying you are doing that. What I'm saying, though, is when there's so much money flowing around, and when you have access to all these dollars and there's side wallets sniping and, oh, it's to defend the project, how do we know that doesn't just end up in, you know, your pockets?
Right. I think that, I mean, you can make a case for different projects of like what that is. I think on this particular one, because people are after my family and because of presidents involved, it's a very different game, just to be honest with you. And I have zero desire to benefit from something that could potentially kill me and or hurt my family. So, it's a much different thing than, cartels in Argentina coming after you, or other places too. I mean, there's multiple threats, both in the U.S., outside the U.S. So I have want nothing to do with this, and I don't want to make any money. So I mean, you can take that for whatever you want, but I think it's just a different thing.
Interesting. Look, I think, you know, you're an interesting figure in some ways. I think you know my position on meme coins. I won't, you know, berate you too much about that. I disagree with it. I disagree with the sniping. I disagree with a lot of this stuff. But I think you're an interesting figure in some ways because you represent sort of the other side of the curtain, right? You've seen the inside of some of the biggest launches on the planet. The Libra coin, for all its problems, was a huge launch. Melania coin. What do regular people need to know? Like you said, like, oh, you know, people should. What does the back end of these rooms look like? How much money is being made by the teams? What is actually, you know, insider information? You know, like if you really think people should, you know, be educated, you kind of were like, hey, people should think about these things. What should they think about from your perspective? Like what is going on the inside?
Yeah, I think the best one to look at, like from because I know like both money was raised and the most amount of money was made was on Trump. I think that's the best example, just being honest. Because you know that, right? You know that people were able to buy in at 500 million.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah,
know
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. Like
Okay.
people snipe that coin too. You mean?
No, 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 no. Like at the when before it launched at some private dinner, that they gave people special access to buying it at 500
What?
million. Yeah, yeah,
Wait,
yeah, 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 yeah,
wait, what?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Who gave that? Who gave that?
That was I mean, that was what I was told. Like, there were people at a some sort of crypto event in Washington D.C.
If that's I don't know if that's true, but if that's true, that's I
That's
would
what I
have
was
a
told. That's what I was told,
okay,
by the way.
okay,
I'm
and so
not
give
saying
me your
it's true or
point. So
not.
your point is with that though.
So my point is with that, and with Trump or any of these big ones, like, it is an insider's game. This is an unregulated casino. Like, if you're a retail trader thinking you're gonna go make millions off of meme coins, you better study your fucking ass off. Like, how do you think Pump Fund works? Pump Fund, the coin bonds, people put money in. Insiders know about it first. It rips up, and it's who loses last. That's how it's a game. Every single one of these is a game. There's none of them that aren't games. The only ones that aren't games are ones that have completely died and a tiny group of people decide to CTO them. So whether it's Trump, Melania, Libra, you know, FWOG, fucking, what other huge ones are there? I mean, you could just keep naming them. All of these are a game. And so from a retail perspective, I highly encourage people, unless they have, like, if you have 100 grand, go spend 10 and play the game if you want to do that. But it's not a good idea. It's like going to the casino, which is like, that's the game. My game is, I thought that some of these meme coins would turn into utility and would turn into, like, giant cross promotions and cool utility and partnerships and getting people, like, really, really socially, like, connected through finance. And I don't think that at the current moment. Obviously, like, I don't even want to do this, and don't even know how I would. I mean, like, I've gotten very good at being a launch strategist. I mean, even today, as, like, how much hate there was, there's like 20 people that asked, "Hey, when do you want to do this one?" It's just like, it's crazy, but it's a game. It's an unregulated game. I think David
Do you
Sachs
think
called me. Go ahead.
no. Oh, please go. David Sachs called what?
I mean, David Sachs called memes collectibles. I mean, our fucking president launched a meme coin 2 days before he came into office. That team, I don't know if Trump himself benefited, but that team benefited. I mean, go look
Do
at
you
that.
think that's a mistake? Do you think it's a mistake to basically let
So,
open the floodgates for this stuff, given that you basically said, look, this is all a bad idea to
so
do
I
for
think,
most people?
yeah, I mean, like, look, I think I have a very different perspective, than 3 days ago. What I think is that, like, I'm very pro getting everything away from regulated markets, but I'm now recognize, because I think that that's another game. I think that's an insider game, right? Whether if it's the Pelosi's of the world or the, stock game, that's an insider game too. It's just a different type, and people have to be more careful. But capital markets are an insider game. The whole thing is, like, I'm never nobody's ever going to convince me that it's not rigged. Banks pay hundreds of millions of dollars a year to do illegal shit because they can make more money other ways. Like, I could keep going on with bullshit after bullshit after bullshit. I think if you're gonna die on the sword of meme coins being, insider this or sniping that, like, you're full of shit, because there's every market in the world is like that makes a shitload of money, and
Well, yeah,
every market is corrupt.
I just want to put a note in that. If your argument for capital markets is, they are rigged, that's actually an argument for more regulation against rigging than it is for less. Like, you wouldn't look at a rigged game and go, hey guys, let's take away all the rules we had in place anyway to try to stop it getting rigged, right?
Yeah, but
You would
then you have to
actually say,
trust. Then you have to trust the regulators, and most of them are being paid off, and that's been proven time and time forever, because humans are flawed, right?
but once again, the conclusion to, like, seeing problems in the world is not like you realize, like, your brakes aren't working correctly. It's not to go like, hey, the brake manufacturer's paid off, so let's just not have brakes at all. It's methodically approaching it and going, okay, we need to advocate for more regulation here. We need to advocate for more rules here. Saying, like, oh yeah, it's all rigged isn't the dunk that people think it is
Yeah.
on rules in general. Does that make sense?
Sure, but it doesn't matter. Like that to me is kind of a little bit of a mute point because it's like it doesn't matter. The people that have the most money, the most access, and the most control, which is insiders, in any market in the world, always win. Always. They never lose. That's across the board.
I can't disagree with that.
So, like, to me, again, what would I tell people about meme coins? Meme coins are unregulated, volatile. There's insiders, there's sniping, there's crazy shit that goes on. And no one, like, and people at the top actually care the most. Like, some of the guys that I talk to, which I'm not going to name for obvious reasons, but that are at, like, trying to figure this out are not bad dudes. They're all trying to figure this out. Most of them are trying very hard to figure out, okay, how do we make this sustainable? And nobody has gotten it right. Nobody. And I'm sure colossal fuck ups like Libra will help create structure. But like, I don't, my phone hasn't been called by any of those guys. All those people disappear when things get hard, which is why I'm just like, you know what? Fuck this. I actually I do have things to lose. I have a family and I have a lot like I have a lot to lose just in life in general, reputation, etc. I'm like, fuck this. I'll just fight this. Like people said not to talk to you and that you're gonna fuck me over. And I was like, dude, he's a Christian dude who's a rational person. Let's talk to him and see what happens. Like that's like the only choice I have is like fight this and face repercussions or don't fight this and be called a scammer forever, which is just not the case.
I do agree that you just saying your piece, warts and all, is a lot better than everyone just speculates and your story gets told for you. I generally
100%.
think that's the case. I'm not gonna lie. I'm neither in the position of wanting to rehab anyone's image, and I'm also not looking to. I'm just looking to tell the story as it is. So when I air this, it's gonna be I'm just gonna air the whole thing minus the parts you told me like were off. But I'm not gonna clip it. I'm just gonna put it all out so that people can see your side of the story as it is. And I think you have been a lot more transparent than a lot of people in this situation who I think they are also scared. When you said people disappear, I think I think Javier Milei is scared for his reputation. I think, Julian from Kip is scared for his reputation, partially because he was like turned into the boogeyman first. There's a lot of people here who are terrified, but I do think you getting your side of the story out and answering some of these questions is good. Now, I don't think what's been done here is good, but I think you being honest has been helpful. So I want to thank you for that.
Yeah. And I would say, like, I don't know if I have a closing thing or not, but I would say, like, a couple things. Like, number one, I just want to reiterate this, like, not only because I actually believe it, but needs to be said. Like, Javier knows jack shit about crypto. I think he knows a few, I think he's brilliant, and I think he knows a few things about blockchain, but I don't think he realizes what he's done. So I just want to throw that out there. And I fully back him, and I think he's the saving grace to one of the most corrupt countries in the world that has a chance to be non-corrupt. So I want to throw that out there. Number two, I'm sharing this story in the hopes, and I didn't think I would share like to this level, but I think like it's important to know that like just because there's a narrative of like all KOLs, and I don't know that I don't know that you consider yourself a KOL or not, but like you guys are all making money from either sharing content or getting paid on deals. Those are the two ways you guys make money, right? Or maybe brand deals or endorsements. It doesn't matter. Like ultimately, it's because you keep floating content, and your guys' content in this case affects my family greatly and puts me in a fuckload of danger, even though I am not the main player here, and I don't want to be the main player. That's why I've always sat in the facilitator standpoint. So I would appreciate when people like I don't need to be a victim. I'm not, but I would love if people could have a tiny bit of empathy, because I'm going to have security probably for the foreseeable future. And I'm probably going to be extremely fucked for the foreseeable future for something that I didn't want. I wanted 100%. I wasn't taking any money on this deal. I was doing this on behalf of Milei. I'm his advisor. I wanted to do this to further other conversations, further other blockchain technology, further other initiatives. I didn't give a shit about the money that this could make. Other ones, sure. I'm not going to claim that I haven't made money on them. That would be stupid. But, and then lastly, however you post this and however you transition it, I would appreciate at least some light shed on the fact that I am not a scammer, nor do I think Libra's a dead project. And I do actually believe Milei will support it, by the way. We'll find out tomorrow and the next day. But my bet is that he supports it. And I think he's better off supporting it than he's not in his current predicament.
Yeah, just to go back, my fundamental issue sort of with you, assuming the $100 million gets to the right people, is the sniping. It's the like clandestine sniping, which you've basically said was requested of you. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's just that's a long. I think it's a longer story.
Are you benefiting from these snipes? So I think that's the question everyone has is like, are you launching projects? You know they're going to be launched, and then you benefit from basically investing in the project super early and peeling off money.
I haven't. So the answer is I haven't benefited from them as of now. I don't know, to be honest with you. It's considered treasury. So again, and I want to reiterate this because I think a lot of people don't understand how complex, when you deploy these launches, how complex they are. But you're competing against 100 plus of the greatest snipers in the world who are just peeling 10, 20, 30 million off these big launches and walking away. And in 2 seconds, the other thing is they'll dump it in 2 seconds. They'll just dump it based on when they want to. They won't even sell based on like a DLMM or a CLMM or a strategy or like there's $1 billion of volume. This won't hurt the chart. Nothing. They're just going to nuke it when they want to. So one of the ways to deter that, which again, you can say is fucked up. I mean, fine, but is to try and have that token come out and snipe into it. So the market cap is higher to get into at the beginning, which retail never even gets that anyway. Like retail never sees that. Retail sees it 10 minutes later when it's at 10, 20x already. So we're also trying to help retail. But nobody sees that. Everybody just sees, oh, it's insider, oh, it's sniping. That's not it. It's much more complex than that. And people just see that as benefiting. And it's not the case. It's every one of these projects, the idea is to get to a year, 2 years plus. Every one of these teams. There's never a sense of like, let's go make shitloads of money from the beginning. So I just want that to be known, because whether it's believed or not, that is 100% the truth.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, to me, it seems like if you really wanted to bring up the market cap, I guess you could structure your liquidity pool in a certain way where it's priced in, or you don't have to do the single-sided liquidity. There's like a number of ways you could do it where you don't.
They're not all single-sided. They're not all single-sided.
Right. No, but what I'm saying is like, you could create a structure, I think, where a lot of this happens without sniping.
But the intention is to do that, but it doesn't matter. They all get sniped. You could launch it at $1 billion, you could launch it at 500, you could launch it at 200, you could launch it at 300. They all get sniped.
It's kind of like this. Okay, finally I've kind of come up with the thing. Like you're like a bank, right? And you go like, hey, there's money in the bank. Come like try to like kind of play the game. But you're like, look, I'm afraid that people are going to get to my bank vault first. So I'm going to rob myself first in order to put money back in the vault later. And we just all are squinting our eyes like, well, are you ever going to actually put the money back in the vault? And that's kind of this weird like trust game we have to play of, oh yeah,
that actually sounds exactly like crypto, but sure. Like, yeah, I mean, that's actually not the worst. That's not the worst depiction.
Okay.
I mean, every one of these launches is just like that. It's like how the question on everybody's mind is, how do we launch this as fairly and without snipers? Like, do you do a big pre-marketing hype about it? Well, then all the snipers are gonna know. Do you do it stealth, but and then somehow a couple people get to figure it out? I don't know. It's always like that, and you and nobody else has given me an actual answer, which is why I just get blamed, but nobody provides a solution of like, this is how we should do this going forward, and this is why it makes sense, because it's all on the blockchain, so it's all able to be seen to some degree or another.
It is all on the blockchain. I mean, again, I've put forward my thoughts about meme coins in general and stuff. So I have some recommendations. I've never been accused of not having enough opinions. I mean, I think anyone who knows me knows that. But, whether you think those are valid or not is a different story. Listen, Hayden, I think you've covered the majority of the big stuff. I want to thank you for telling your side of the story. Like I said, I may not agree with it, but, I think you have shed light on a lot of issues that were previously not touched on that are relevant. I think this will end up being an important interview. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. Take care.
Bye bye.